My name is Manish Dalal. I'm the General Manager of Endurance International Group Asia Pacific, and I'd like to share some thoughts with you on the impact of the pandemic on the web presence industry. For those who don't know Endurance International Group, we were founded in 1997, and we're an international family of brands that provide small businesses and web professionals with all the tools that you need for web presence and digital marketing. Some of our better known brands are Reseller Club, Logic Boxes, Constant Contact, and Bluehost. So when we start talking about web presence during pandemic, I think we first need to look at the key target audience, which is MSMEs, or micro and small medium enterprises. And MSMEs are a very, very important target audience for all of us because they contribute a lot to the GDP and employment of all our countries. If you look at this World Bank slide, Europe and Central Asia has 6.6 million MSMEs per 1,000 people. That's a lot of small businesses. Middle East and North Africa have 4.4 million MSMEs per 1,000 people. South Asia has 7.4 million per 1,000 people. So a lot of our economies, particularly in emerging markets, have a lot of small businesses that really are the heartbeat of the economy. So it's very important to understand this target audience when you think about web presence and helping them come online. What's been very interesting based on a survey that Facebook has done is that for the last 6 months, small businesses globally have basically said or reported a decline in sales. Like, doesn't matter what region, what country, but everyone has reported a decline in sales because of the impact of COVID-19. This is no surprise, but a lot of small businesses are still uncertain about when things will come back to normal, right? And the top two challenges they have is, number one, they're not sure when customers will come back to them. And secondly, many of them are a little uncertain about how to adapt their business to the digital environment. Now, this is no surprise because many of those MSMEs are using technology, but they use smartphones, WhatsApp, and so on and so forth. But many of them don't have a domain name or a website or use G Suite. So therefore, they're still uncertain about how to transition into a digital business from an offline physical business. So what have SMBs been doing, right? So apart from near-term cost savings measures like closing locations and cutting spending, they are shifting to contactless options to interact with the customers and sell their products to customers. They're also offering new products and services, and some of them are expanding their website or even starting a new website. And again, this makes sense because they're trying to survive in this time, and digital is very important for survival. The study that Google did also shows the top digital solutions that SMBs are using. So small businesses have started using a lot of video conferencing, surely because they're talking to their employees and their customers, but they're also looking to build websites, e-commerce solutions, digital marketing, and to support their customers better, customer service and support software. This is critical because while small businesses are cutting down on traditional expenses, they're actually spending on digital solutions, right? So this is a positive news for many of us in the industry because we should be ready to serve the MSMEs in coming online and having access to these digital products and tools. So if you look at global demand of Google search queries for the web presence industry, what you generally see over the last 6 months is a rise in Google searches. So 45% rise in Google search queries on how-tos. Things like, how do I build my website? How do I design a website? How do I make a website? So those kinds of Google search queries globally has just ramped up. The other kind of search queries that have gone up substantially is web hosting. How do I host my website? And then a 70% rise in WordPress-oriented queries. Why WordPress? Because WordPress is the top CMS in the world. 1 out of 3 websites in the world is built on WordPress. So a lot of people are searching for WordPress and WordPress hosting. So this just shows you that what Google's reporting is across the board since the beginning of the year, we were seeing a very robust demand in search queries on Google for a lot of the keywords that make up the web presence industry. Now, specifically, I want to dive deeper into Q2 of this year, which is the months of April, May, June. And this is again Google's search data, which is indexed, and it shows you the 3 top keywords in our industry. First is domain names, second is web hosting, and third is website builder. And so what you see is developed markets like the UK, Australia, and Canada, number 1, number 2, and number 4 on this list, are seeing a very robust demand, an increasing demand in all keywords around domains, web hosting, and website builder. But it's not just the developed markets, even the developing and emerging markets. If you look at markets like Turkey, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Singapore, all of these markets are seeing a much higher demand for search queries of web presence keywords. Turkey in particular is very interesting because if you look at the demand for keywords like domain and web hosting, it's almost as big as Canada, right? If you look at Indonesia, another very large emerging market in Asia, you see a very massive growth in web presence queries. So this just goes to show you that whether it's the developed markets of North America, of Europe, of the Pacific, or even the emerging markets such as Turkey, Middle East, and in Asia, places like Indonesia and Pakistan and Bangladesh, you're seeing a massive demand for our products, our industry. Now, what I'd like to also share with you is, it's great that we're seeing the demand, but let's look deeper into the Google search data. What this chart helps you understand is not only the growth of searches, which is the vertical axis, the y-axis, the percentage growth of searches year over year, but also on the horizontal axis, it's giving you the CPC, cost per click. This tells you how expensive it is to acquire a customer searching for web presence solutions. And the bubbles are the countries from the previous slide, the same 15 countries. And the size of the bubble is the size of searches, the search volumes, which means the larger the size of the bubble, there are more searches happening in that country. And the higher up on the vertical axis, it means the higher growth in year-over-year search queries, right? And the more to the left on the horizontal axis, meaning the cheaper it is to acquire a new customer. So if you look at Turkey, which is the yellow bubble in TR, what you see is the size of the bubble is very big, which means web hosting as search volume in terms of keywords is very big in Turkey. If you look at the growth on the vertical axis, it's almost between 30 and 60%. So about 45% year-over-year growth is what Google reports of search queries in Turkey for web hosting. And if you look at the CPC, it's less than $1, right? So that tells you that Turkey is a very robust market in terms of demand for web hosting search queries. It's growing rapidly year over year. And the cost to acquire a customer is quite low, less than $1 cost per click. You can make the similar assessment for the big blue bubble, which is ID, Indonesia. Same thing. It's growing even faster. It's a very big market in terms of search volume, and the cost to acquire is quite low, right? And then you have some markets like LK, way at the top, which is Sri Lanka, where the growth is very massive, right? Now, when you look at the right side of this graph, you see the developed markets of Australia, UK, Singapore, Canada. These markets are growing at a lower level, so less than 30% year over year. And the cost to acquire customers is much, much higher than the emerging markets, right? This should not be a surprise. The cost to acquire customers is much higher in the developed markets, but also the average revenue a customer gives you is much higher in the developed markets compared to the developing markets. But if you are in Turkey or in any of the emerging markets and you're attacking customers, small business customers in Turkey, Indonesia, in NG, which is Nigeria, in the UAE, these are all very good markets to very cheaply attract new small business customers for web presence products and web hosting searches, right? So again, very robust demand. across the board for all the emerging markets. Now let's dig deeper within web hosting. Web hosting as a category is a very broad category. So what I'm trying to show you over here is the Google search query volume broken down within the web hosting category. So the key elements of web hosting are products like VPS, right? Virtual private server, dedicated servers, WordPress, email hosting, cloud hosting, reseller hosting, shared hosting, etc. These are the subcategories within web hosting. And the largest search volume for those same 15 countries that I showed you on the previous slide, according to Google, in quarter 2 this year, is VPS has the largest volume of searches, followed by dedicated servers, then WordPress, email, and cloud hosting. But the yellow line shows you the growth year over year, right? And so if you look at shared hosting and dedicated servers, they're the largest growing in terms of year over year search queries, followed by WordPress hosting and cloud hosting. Again, this should not surprise us, because what's happening is, if you look at very entry-level static websites, businesses are happy to have a basic shared hosting product for a very basic entry-level website. But if a web professional is buying a hosting product, they're most probably buying a VPS or a DEDI, because they're putting multiple static and dynamic websites on those servers, as well as business applications on those servers. And clearly cloud is growing substantially because a lot more SaaS developments happening in the cloud. I'll also say WordPress keeps impressing, because in emerging markets, WordPress is much, much bigger than the other CMSs, and WordPress is growing faster than many of the other CMSs, right? So as you think about bloggers, small business owners, people wanted to create their very first web presence, many are going to the WordPress ecosystem. So that's what it looks like in quarter 2 and year over year, according to Google, within the web hosting category. So in summary, what I've tried to explain to you is 2 things. Number one is we're definitely seeing small businesses face a very challenging environment, but true to the nature of a small business owner, they're showing resiliency and they want to survive, and not just survive, but thrive in the new normal. To thrive in the new normal, they have to adopt digital services and web services. And therefore, we're seeing a strong demand for web presence, hosting, digital marketing, all the services that many of you provide, right? And we're seeing this incremental demand in developed markets and emerging markets across all the search keywords that many of us buy, right, on Google. So what does it mean to you? So many of you are web professionals, many of you, sell services and products to the small business industry, right? You have to understand that the journey of a customer, small business customer, starts from awareness and goes all the way till consideration, decision, retention, and advocacy, right? So it's very important that you target small business customers right at the awareness stage. In times of distress, small business customers will buy products from companies they trust and brands they trust. So it's really critical for you that's attracting them to build your digital brand, so that when SMB customers are searching online, they are aware of your brand. When those customers move into the consideration stage and try to search for products, you have to be present in the various acquisition funnels, from SEO to SEM to social media marketing, WhatsApp marketing, email marketing, influencer marketing, blogs. You have to be present everywhere so they can find you. And then when they make the decision to buy product from you, it's very critical to make the purchase and the onboarding experience very simple. So even if they're buying from the mobile platform or the desktop platform, they're paying through a mobile wallet, a credit card, whatever it may be, the transaction and the onboarding needs to be very simple. Once they're onboarded, it's very critical for them to engage with your product so that there's stickiness. That's how you create retention. And finally, making them your advocates allows them to create viral marketing for you, right? Which means that they will recommend you to other SMB owners who are like them. So it's very important for you to be present in all these phases of the customer journey and life cycle. And I'll just end with saying that we'd love to partner with all of you, whether you are a website developer, a hoster, a digital agency, a reseller, an IT service, an app developer. We'd love to partner with you. Just check us out at Reseller Club, tr.resellerclub.com. For those of you who are our customers, thank you for your business. We love working with you, and we have lots of products, right from domains to shared hosting to Dedis to G Suite. We offer the broadest suite of web presence products that you can work with us on. You can resell, not just in Turkey, but globally. So look forward to speaking with many of you offline, and look forward to partnering with you in the year ahead. Thank you very much. And if there are any questions, I'll address them. Okay, I don't see any questions right now, but if any of you want to reach out to me offline, ask any questions, my email is manish.d@endurance.com, manish.d@endurance.com. So feel free to reach out to us or the organizers, and be very happy to meet with you, answer any questions that you have for Reseller Club. Thank you very much.